Disclaimer. The following is a what-if fan-fictional piece. This franchise, along with its characters, are the rightful property of the following respected companies: Hassle-Free Productions, Davis Films, The Electric Shadow Company, Edward R. Pressman Film, and Pressman Film. Be advised, this fictional piece is a rewrite from the original City of Angels film that fully acknowledges and respects the events from the first and original film. Some things were retconned to include some cut content that was originally planned for this story before it was severely butchered by the Weinstein family. This was also written to be a prequel for the first Crow fanfiction we did that's titled The Crow, Fallen Angel, which is available now, although it may be replaced with a rewrite as well. Hope you all enjoy this story. It has been over 10 years since the events of the infamous Devil's Night massacre. Top Dollar and his band of hedonistic goons who are responsible murdered a young couple inside of their loft on the eve of their wedding day have long since been defeated. When the man they've killed, named Eric Draven, to whom was the first one chosen by a magical crow, was brought back from the realm of the dead to avenge the death of his fiancée Shelley Webster and himself. That was when Sarah, the couple's friend who they would babysit and take great care of, learned about the magic that mystical blackbirds possessed and the ultimate power of true love. Our story begins on October the 29th, which is the night of San Lucas, at a local garage where a young mechanic who is also the owner of said establishment is hard at work on his motorcycle, is hanging out with his son who is working on a painting that he couldn't wait to show his father.
Hey Dad, check it out.
Hey, nice work, my boy. Who are the people?
Them? That's you, and me.
That's supposed to be me? Okay. Now what's that blue thing in the sky?
That is a blue sun.
A blue sun, huh? That's different.
Suddenly, a gunshot can be heard from a distance, which piqued the young boy's curiosity.
Ooh, what was that?
Danny? Son, wait! Stay here!
The mechanic calls out to his son, but he well out of listening range, so the man chases after him. The boy stops when he sees a band of punks beating up on a man, but relief would wash over on his face when he sees his dad catching up with him.
Danny? Oh, thank God. Come on, son. Let's go.
But it's too late. The evil goons spot the father and son team and proceed to grab them so they can take the two victims to the docks.
No, please, let us go. We didn't see anything.
The young mechanic pleads for their lives, but they're being ignored.
See? No. Evil.
A goon named Curve says before they reach the end of the dock.
Please, don't hurt my boy.
Daddy, I'm scared.
It's okay, son. Everything's gonna be okay.
Daddy, I'm sorry.
Hey, look at me. It's not your fault. You understand? It's okay.
No point in wasting your breath, my man. Nobody up there is listening.
Another goon named Spider Monkey yells out. Meanwhile, a female goon walks towards a limo that was parked nearby. The occupant in the back seat rolls down his window as his follower approaches.
Judah, what do you want us to do with the boy?
Leave no witnesses, Callie. Kill them both.
Judah orders. After nodding with understanding, Callie returns to the scene with her allies, and she starts to sing.
Hush, little baby, don't you cry.
Please, I'm begging you. Don't hurt him. He's just a kid. He doesn't know any of you.
Mama's gonna buy you eternal life.
Callie yells before firing a shot at the boy, killing him instantly.
Nothing. Personal. Sport. Just. Wrong place. Wrong time.
Curve says before kissing the man on his forehead. Both victims are now tied together and also to a makeshift anchor. Finally, to end his suffering, Callie fires 4 shots at the man before Curve orders the 4th member named Nemo to kick them off the dock, sending the 2 lifeless victims into the drink.
See you later, shitheads.
The next day, October the 30th, which is the night of Santa Muerte and the anniversary of Devil's Night. These days, Sarah herself is now a young adult well into her early 20s. She's an accomplished tattoo artist and very talented painter as well. Sarah hasn't been getting much sleep lately due to visions she's been having in her sleep about a young man and his son being brutally murdered at the very same dock where her friend Eric savagely murdered T-Bird, who was Top Dollar's right hand. Sarah was rudely disturbed from her sleep by the said recurring nightmare along with the cause from a crow.
Hey, Gabriel.
She pets her cat before she makes her way out of bed and towards the shower to make ready for her shift at the Gargoyle Tattoo Parlor. Sarah has tattoos of her own that consist of 2 black feathered wings on her back, which could be a tribute piece to honor her friend Eric, a spiral sun right above her navel, and some tribal pieces on her arms. On her way to work, Sarah sees a young girl who appears to be homeless.
Hey, kid, you got a name?
Grace. Who cares?
Well, I do for one, and I'm Sarah.
Sarah introduces herself as she approaches Grace before taking a seat right next to her. Sarah notices an opened wrapper with a demonic figure on it, crumbles it up, and tosses it away.
Look, Grace, how about we go get ourselves some coffee and a nice meal while we're at it?
What do you want?
I just want to have a nice meal, if that's all right with you.
Sarah says, sincerely. Grace looks into Sarah's eyes, and for the first time in a long time, she sees genuine kindness.
Okay, but don't get any ideas.
Meanwhile, at his penthouse lair, an evil drug overlord and mastermind named Judah holding a meeting with his crew and one of his drug pushers who may have betrayed Judah.
Ladies and gentlemen, now as you all are aware, we have our own personal pleasures. For some it's the flesh, and for others it's the drugs. So we provide for them. Our products feed everyone in the whole entire city, while other kingdoms have since fallen around us. We've succeeded by acting as one.
Succeeded with guidance from a darker world, Judah.
Do you love me, Sybil?
All must love you.
Really? Then why did this little sawed-off pissant betray me then?
Judah's drug pusher looks at him with his eyes wide with fear.
Hey! I did not betray you, Judah. I did what I had to protect the business. We had a bad batch that could have damaged our rep. I mean, come on, man. Do we want this brand to be known for killing off our loyal customers?
Judah takes in the man's words as he preps a needle containing a test sample from the alleged tainted batch.
So you destroyed 80 keys without my consent?
It would not be a good look to keep killing everyone with this tainted batch. It's bad for business.
Fair enough. Then perhaps we should see for ourselves just how bad this batch really is.
Judah says as his goons grab the junkie and pin him down in his seat.
Look, Judah, please, give me a chance to make this right.
But you are. I'm volunteering you as my test subject. Weren't you paying attention? I'd said we all have our pleasures. Mine just happens to be to inflict pain on others.
Judah says before sticking the needle in the junkie's nose, injecting the drug into him, killing him almost instantly. Meanwhile, at the Gargoyle Tattoo Shop, Sarah along with Grace had just arrived, and the 2 ladies were greeted by Noah, Sarah's friend who is also the shop owner as well.
Hey love, and who's your friend?
Hey, Noah, hope you don't mind me bringing a young apprentice.
Sarah says as she places her hand on Grace's shoulder.
This is Grace. We've just met. She's going to help me clean up afterwards.
Hours later, after the friends cleaned up and shut down the shop for the night, Sarah and Noah are having won their bull sessions while Grace looks through Sarah's tattoo books.
Wanna join me for a drink before you shove off to home base, my dear?
Appreciate the invite, but I can't. I haven't been sleeping very well lately.
Alright. What's the dirty dog's name?
Noah teases as he gives Grace an "I'm just kidding" wink, who also shares a laugh with Noah.
No, really. I've been having these really strange dreams. I think it's happening again, Noah. I think someone else is being chosen to come back.
Sarah was cut off by some banging at the door.
Grace! Quick, hide in Noah's office and lock the door.
Hey. We're closed for the night.
Noah yells, and with that the door gets kicked open by Curve, one of the goons responsible for the murder of the mechanic and his son.
I've told you we're closed.
Poor Noah gets cut off by a punch from Curve that knocks him to the ground.
Stop it!
Sarah screams as she shoves the goon who grabs her by the arm before wrapping his arm around the back of her neck, leading her to a mirror.
What is this shit you put on my chest?
It's a crow.
Damn right it's a crow. Is that what I asked for?
I only went by the design you gave me.
All right. That's enough. Stop it.
Noah shouts after getting back on his feet. Curve, who still has his arm around Sarah, leads the poor woman to her friend while pulling out his pistol.
So what's it gonna be, hero? Think you shit yourself, so you must be ready to kiss your fat ass goodbye.
Fuck you!
Sarah yells before freeing herself from Curve's grip, and then knees the ruthless thug right in his groin before taking his pistol, causing the man to drop in the fetal position.
Oh, fuck.
Get up! On your feet!
Sarah orders as she aims the gun at Curve, who slowly but surely does he's told.
Get out! Now!
She warns as she cocks the gun, letting the man know she's dead serious. After Curve takes his leave, Sarah checks on her friend.
Are you okay?
Well, fuck me. When are they gonna storm in like that again?
I don't know how much more I can take, Noah.
Sarah says as the two hold each other tight.
Don't worry, love. Everything will work out in the end. You'll see.
Noah tries to reassure Sarah, who gets Grace from his office, so the two girls can take their leave. When they get into Sarah's car, they see the crow that helped woke Sarah from her sleep land on the hood of her car. Sarah pulls out the gun she took from Curve and lets out a few rounds till the clip was empty. Moments later, the two girls arrive back at Sarah's place.
Sorry about earlier. If you want, there's a spare bedroom with your name all over it, so make yourself a home.
Grace, seeing the pain in Sarah's eyes, pulls her in for a warm and snug embrace, which Sarah returns in kind as tears start streaming down her cheeks.
Thanks. I needed that.
It's the least I can do.
Grace with a warm smile before the two friends retire to their rooms. Moments later, Sarah is again awakened by both her dream and the same crow that's been trying to her attention, since it seems to know that the woman understands their ways.
Okay.
Sarah says, finally giving in to her instincts. She follows the crow in her car to the docks, which is the final resting place of the mechanic and his son. After parking her as close as possible, Sarah slowly walks towards the end of the dock as the crow that led her there perches on a nearby piece of railing. Meanwhile, underwater, the mechanic starts to stir, and as he does, the awful memories of what happened to his son and himself came flooding back to him, giving him the strength to break out of his ties before making his way up to the surface. Sarah can hear the water bubbling as the man resurfaces. The man then makes his climb up to the top of the dock, where Sarah is waiting patiently for his arrival. After reaching the top, Sarah can clearly see how exhausted the young man was from the climb, so she helps him to her car. Sarah was about to take the man home, but he tries to tell her something.
Wait. My garage.
He says as he tried to point out where his shop is before passing out from exhaustion. The crow lands on Sarah's hood again, cawing, trying to tell her to follow its lead again. The crow is able to lead Sarah to the man's garage, where she was able to park inside. She lets the man rest in her car for a moment before he finally comes to. As he stirs, all the memories from the times he had spent with his son come flooding back to him, causing him to open the passenger door and fall out to the ground. Sarah quickly gets out as well to check on the man, who finally gets to his feet.
Who are you?
I'm Sarah. I dreamed about you. I saw them. I saw them shoot your son.
She tells him as he sees his son's painting on the ground. Right when he picks it up, he sees the tragic events replay before his eyes, reminding him of what happened to his son and himself, which caused him to drop to his knees as tears start streaming down his face.
Danny?
He isn't here anymore.
Sarah says as tears from her eyes start to stream.
I don't understand. How did I survive?
The man asks, trying to make some sense out of the strange circumstances he's been dealt with.
You didn't. You're dead.
Sarah informs him as she heads towards his toolbox, where she finds a flathead screwdriver.
No. This isn't real. This can't be real.
The man says, and with that, Sarah pushes him against the wall, forcing him to stand straight.
What are you doing?
He asks before Sarah stabs him with the screwdriver.
What the fuck?
Pull it out and watch.
Sarah cuts him off. Realizing he didn't feel any pain, the man does as he told and watches his stab wound instantly heal.
Oh my god. What am I?
More importantly, who are you?
Ash. Ash Corvin.
Look, Ash, I want to help you.
Sarah offers before Ash takes a seat at his workbench. Sarah approaches him before removing his tattered shirt.
I have an extra set of clothes in that cabinet there.
Ash says as he nods towards the tall cabinet next to his workbench. Sarah pulls out a black sleeveless shirt from the cabinet and helps Ash put it on.
You know why you were sent back, right?
Ash looks Sarah in her eyes with anticipation. Sarah then takes a seat next to Ash and takes his hand, letting him know he's not alone.
You were given another chance to set the wrong things right.
Sarah continues with her words of wisdom as she then goes to gather up Danny's paints.
These were Danny's paints, weren't they?
Ash nods slowly as a lone tear streams down his face. After Sarah wipes the tear from Ash's face, she begins to dip her fingers in the white paint so she can give Ash his foundation.
I believe there's always been people like you. It's the pain that brings people back.
She says as she goes for the black paint to place over the areas around Ash's eyes, including his brows and his lips.
It makes us strong again.
She adds as she goes for Danny's fine tip paintbrush to give Ash the 6 points. 2 pointing from his brows, 2 pointing down from under his eyes, and finally, the 2 exaggerated smiling points on both sides of his mouth. When all said and done, Sarah takes a moment to admire her work.
My God, you look just like him. Forgive me, Eric,
she says as she looks up. Ash then gets his black leather vest before throwing on his black leather jacket. Everything topside matched his black denim jeans that were topped off with his brown snakeskin belt with a chrome buckle he was already wearing along with his black work boots.
Thank you, Sarah.
Ash tells his new friend before the two would share a warm embrace. Ash gets Danny's painting and hangs it up on his workbench.
I love you, my son. I promise you, I will make them pay,
he says before hopping on his bike, which he fires up and then pieces out to hunt down his prey. With the help of his crow, Ash was able to locate the first goon on his list. The painted warrior pulls up to a drug lab where Judah gets his drugs cooked. Inside there is one person who Judah had left in charge of the place, which is Spider Monkey. The twisted thug was busy entertaining himself by watching footage of past murders he assisted with and recorded, which included footage from the docks where Ash and his son Danny were met their untimely end. Spider Monkey is easily frightened when Ash hops onto his desk.
Who the fuck are you, man?
Does a corpse need a familiar face?
Spider Monkey looks at the footage again before looking back at Ash.
Holy shit! It's you! But we've killed you! You're supposed to be dead!
Sorry to disappoint you.
Ash responds as he grabs the thug by his collar. He then takes the goon over to the drug vats, where he pulls a book of matches.
The rest of your friends, who are they?
Ash asks as he lights a match, threatening to drop it in one of the vats.
Nemo! Callie! Curve! And Judah! Now can you please put that out? You'll fry us both!
Really? You think?
Ash teases, then jumps to his next question.
I will find this Nemo as I work my way up the food chain. Now, where are they?
Nemo! That fucking perf likes to hang out at the Peeporama. Callie and Curve are always out and about. Don't like to stay anywhere any longer than they need to. And Judah stays at a penthouse downtown with his fortune teller bitch. There! That's all I know! Now please!
Ash puts out the match after Spider Monkey gave him the information he needed.
Congratulations, my friend! You just bought yourself a fighting chance at survival. Now, pick a card.
Ash says he pulls out a deck of cards from his coat pocket before shuffling the cards and then presents them to Spider Monkey so he can take his pick. The poor fool draws a Jack of Hearts and Ash draws a King of Hearts.
Lady Luck is a bitch, ain't she?
Ash says before lighting up another match.
Oh, and don't bother wasting your breath, my friend. Nobody up there is listening.
And with that, Ash quickly drops it into the drug vat, sending a wave of flames across the floor. The vats explode, engulfing Spider Monkey in the process and blowing out all the windows. Ash can be seen walking out of the burning lab without a scratch. Meanwhile, back at Gargoyle Tattoo, Sarah was busy writing some poetry in one of her sketchbooks.
And though the world would be in love with night and pain and worship to the garish sun.
Her voice trails off as a thought runs through her mind.
Hey Noah?
Yeah, love?
Do you believe in faith?
Sarah asks, and Noah ponders her question for a brief moment before he finally responds.
Seems to me. It's more of a question if Faith believes in you.
Moments later, Curve finally arrives at the drug lab, perhaps to check on Spider Monkey and maybe steal some drugs for his stash. As he pulls up on his bike, he sees the lab up in flames. After getting off his bike, he sparks up a cigarette and notices an arrangement of glass shaped like a crow, which causes him to place his hand on his chest where his crow tattoo is, feeling nervous as he begins to believe he has been marked. Startled, Curve watches the nearby palm trees burn, then peers into the night sky. He buttons up his vest to hide his secret, then hops back onto his motorcycle and tears off towards Judah's tower. Moments later, true to Spider Monkey's word, Nemo arrives at the Peeporama Peep Show. The wig-wearing thug meets with the host, who is also the owner, at the register to pay for his tokens before heading over to his favorite booth. After depositing his first token, the wall that covers the window to the live girl lifts to reveal a beautiful statuesque blonde.
So what's your name, baby?
The perverted goon asks after picking up the landline so he can talk with the woman.
Holidays. Do you want me, baby?
Oh yeah, we're gonna celebrate Christmas a little early this year.
Meanwhile, Curve is meeting with Judah, Sybil, and Callie was also present as well.
Somebody torched the lab. Spider Monkey went up in smoke.
Monkey I can care less about, but what about our product?
Completely gone.
He left a sign, didn't he?
I don't know what you're talking about, lady.
Yes, you do. You're wearing his mark.
What are you talking about?
The crow. It's his symbol. He left it on you as a warning. You've been marked, just like the palm trees and the lab.
Judah, why do you listen to this?
Because what she speaks is the truth.
Judah trails off as he opens Curve's vest to reveal his right hand's chest tattoo.
What is this, Curve? Hell of a beauty mark.
Your enemy wears the mask of the crow, the bird of ill omen.
Sybil's words sink into Judah's head. He strides across the floor, sweeping aside one of his curtains surrounding the camera obscura.
The crow. Death's avatar. I've heard the legends.
Judah looks down at a view of the seething landscape.
Let him come, then.
Back at the peep show, Nemo was trying to get himself off with the assist of Holidays, but the wall covering started to lower, letting him know he was running out of time.
Time's almost up, fucker. Better have more of those tokens ready.
Nemo struggles to get another token out of his pocket, but manages to do so before depositing it into the available box, raising the cover wall back up. This time, however, it was revealed that Ash had taken the woman's place in her seat.
Do you want me, baby?
You!
Nemo says as he points, recognizing the man behind the face paint.
Me.
Ash responds before diving through the glass, activating the alarm in the building. He grabs Nemo and throws him out of the booth.
Hey! You fucked up! My boy!
The owner yells before firing a shotgun round at Ash.
One crow. Sorrow.
Ash says before taking another shotgun blast that instantly heals like the first one did, which has the shooter nervous.
2 crows. Die!
He shouts as he grabs the man's shotgun before knocking him out with the butt of the gun.
3 crows. Deliver!
Ash yells as he saw Nemo trying to run away, but gets a shot at his leg, preventing him from escaping.
4 crows. A boy.
Ash continues as he grabs Nemo, gets the wig-wearing goon back to his feet, and then smashes his face into not one, but 2 glass countertops before throwing Nemo to the ground.
5 crows. Shiver!
Ash says as he takes his coat off, so he can whip the thug with it.
6 crows. Avoid.
He continues as he continuously whips Nemo with his coat.
10 crows. A secret to never be told.
Ash wraps up his crow count along with the coat whippings, so he pinned Nemo to the ground.
Look at me.
He shouts to shut the whiny thug up.
You've killed my son, you piece of shit. You stole the only piece of life that was left in my soul.
We had to. We had to, man. Wasn't my fault. We had orders. Judah said don't leave any witnesses, so we didn't have a choice.
Bullshit. There's always a choice.
Ash says as he starts to dig out Nemo's eyes, causing him to scream out bloody murder. Ash lifts up his now blood-covered hands and turns. Just then, Holidays bursts out into the halls. Ash grabs her by the wrist and spins her around to face him. The poor woman stiffens, so sure that her death would be next. She cringes back in terror, waiting.
No, please.
As Ash's eyes find Holly's soul, he sees a split-second flash of the woman's troubled past. He whispers to her like a gentle lover.
Walk away. If you value what you've ever lost, you'll walk away from this place and never look back.
Holly Days nods with conviction. She slips away slowly from Ash's fingers. She then turns and bolts away, gone. To hopefully a safer place. Minutes later, Callie arrived at the peep show with her crew, and Curve pulls up mere seconds after the fact. Curve walks up to Callie, who is waiting for him right outside of Nemo's booth. She nods to tell Curve to take a look for himself before taking her leave. After entering the booth, Curve can see Nemo's lifeless corpse being propped up on Holly's chair, with a blow-up doll in a very suggestive position.
Holy shit.
Curve mutters as he notices upon further inspection that Nemo's eyes were missing, which was a very eerie sight. Curve has a memory flash in his head.
See. No. Evil.
Those 3 words he remembers. Curve also noticed something sticking out of Nemo's mouth, which he pulls out to see that it was an origami crow Ash had made to be his calling card. Suddenly, the available landline in the booth starts ringing, which Curve was hesitant at first to pick up, but does so eventually.
Do you know what they call a gathering of crows, Curve? A murder. A murder of crows. Think about it. I'll see you soon, sport.
The painted warrior says before hanging up the line. Ash then notices the very familiar church, which he makes his way towards. After entering, he notices the altar was decorated for the Day of the Dead, and that small gathering of people were participating in its traditions. An elderly priest noticed the troubled man, so he approaches.
May I help you, my son?
I'm sorry, Father. I was just watching. Didn't mean to interrupt.
It's quite all right, my son. Our doors are always open.
The elderly priest informs Ash, making him feel welcomed.
Father, may I ask, what is this?
Dia de los Muertos. Day of the Dead. We light candles for our loved ones, so they might find their way back to Earth. Tomorrow, we will celebrate. The people will dance and sing. Some will wear masks.
Why?
Some spirits stay too long. They get confused by mistaking themselves with the living. They must be frightened away.
The priest finishes as he makes his return to the group. Minutes later, Ash was roaming through an alleyway when he noticed a young girl sitting on the pavement leaning against a building. It wasn't Grace, Sarah's friend, who she took in, but another, so he sits down next to her and noticed a small bag in her hand that had a familiar demonic figure on it. The bag was sealed and housed Judah's brand of powder inside.
Let me see that for a second.
Ash says as he takes the bag from the girl.
Perhaps there's a better way.
He says before magically igniting the bag of drugs right before the girl's very eyes, turning it into ashes.
How did you do that?
The girl asks with her eyes wide with shock and disbelief.
It's magic. Blow 'em out. Like a birthday candle.
He says, and the girl does as she was asked.
Look, you have power like I do. You're a lot stronger than you realize. Just follow your heart. Can't go wrong.
He whispers before rising back up to his feet, and before he leaves, he gives the girl a warm, friendly smile, which she returns in kind with one of her own. A moment later, back at her place, Sarah and Grace are working on some paintings when Ash's crow perches on an open windowsill, letting out some caws. Sarah then notices Ash sitting on her steps.
Hey, Grace. You mind giving us a moment? If you like, you can work on your painting in your room and have Gabriel keep you company.
Sure. Come on, Gabriel.
Grace calls to the white cat, who meows in agreement.
Was that your sister?
Actually, she's a friend I just took in to help out. But yeah, I like to think of her as a sister. I'm so happy you came around.
Sarah says with a warm smile.
I was in the neighborhood. And besides, heaven wouldn't have me, and hell was afraid I'll take over.
He jokes to lighten the mood.
I needed to see you again.
He adds before making his way down the steps, and he noticed the wedding band Sarah wears on a chain around her neck.
Were you married?
You noticed my ring. Actually, it belonged to some friends.
Sarah says she looks at her gift from her friend Eric Draven.
Where are they now?
In a better place.
Sarah answers and Ash nods in understanding.
How about you? Were you ever married?
No. After Danny was born, his mother had left us. She was a drug addict.
Unfortunately, that's how I lost my mother.
Small world.
Ash responds as Sarah and him meet each other's gaze.
I'd wanted to leave Detroit so I can put the past behind me. But the problem is, I know how it ends. Blood. Violence.
She adds as Ash walks towards her and takes a seat right next to her.
I don't want a part of it anymore.
Ash looks at Sarah's painting. He touches the woman's face.
She looks like you,
he says, and Sarah hesitates for a moment before finally responding.
I paint what I see.
What happens to me after I'm finished with my mission here?
They both share a momentary glance before Sarah answers.
Well, if things play out the way they did for my friend, then you go back.
Ash takes her hand.
But what if I don't want to go back?
I wish I knew,
Sarah says before pulling her hand back slowly. Ash moves closer to her. He reaches out and gently caresses Sarah's body. Meanwhile, back at Judah's penthouse, Curve along with the drug overlord and Callie were in meeting as they were watching the footage from the night Ash and his son Danny were murdered.
That's in Judah. That's the motherfucker we dumped off the pier. He's the one who's been taking out our boys.
Impossible. I saw you kill him.
I shot him 4 times. So what? Is he some kind of ghost?
No such thing as ghosts.
Then who killed Spider Monkey and Nemo?
All I know is that he's fucking with us. The crow is his symbol, right? So that means I'm a marked man.
I thought you said you didn't believe.
Curve turns on Callie, furious, ready to strike her. In a flash, Callie goes into a stance, ready to attack. Curve backs away, bristling.
Look. What you do with these fairy tales is your business, but I'm not just gonna sit here with a target on my chest. I'm gonna take this motherfucker out.
You won't stop him with guns or knives. He doesn't feel pain. His soul has crossed over.
So how do you stop a man that's already dead?
Can you look destiny in the eye, without flinching?
Sybil asks Judah before he grabs the woman by her collar and pulls her in close.
You tell me.
The crow. It's his link between the land of the living and the world of the dead. You have to sever that link, and once you do, he'll be as vulnerable as the next man.
Back over at Sarah's place, Ash pushes through a curtain, turning towards Sarah's vanity. He sees her mementos gathered there and the ceramic irony mask, which hangs above. Ash reaches a hand out to trace its features. At the bottom of the mirror, a faded postcard has been tucked between the frame and the glass. He pulls it free, then sits down to study it. The postcard is of a carnival midway set on the beach, people strolling along a boardwalk, golden sand and blue skies. There were words at the top that read, "Wish you were here."
I've been here.
Ash stares at the picture, entranced, caught up in a moment of wistful nostalgia for the life he's lost. Ash then catches himself and he sets the postcard down.
It was cold. I remember. Danny and I could see our breath.
Ash continues as Sarah walks towards him.
Look at me. Ash. Look at me.
No.
Ash exclaims as he winces.
No.
He repeats as he stands and places both hands on Sarah's cheeks.
I'm sorry. But we can't do this. I have to find the rest of them. I have to complete my mission.
I know.
Sarah acknowledges his words as they gaze into each other's eyes.
I wish I had met you before.
Sarah confesses, and Ash nods before taking his leave. Sarah watches Ash leave on his motorcycle from her window, thinking perhaps there may be a chance for them to be together. Back at his penthouse, Judah was given some valuable information by his trusted prophet.
If you can take the blood of the crow and consume it, then you could be in possession of Ash's power.
Judah nods with a sinister grin before shifting his focus to Curve.
That mark on your chest. Who gave it to you?
This bitch at the gargoyle. What does that have to do with this?
Everything, you idiot. If she gave you his mark, then that means she's connected to him. Now find her and bring her to me. Alive!
Judah orders. Moments later, back at the docks, Ash is standing at the end of the pier where he and Danny were dumped off by Judah's gang of punks. Suddenly, Ash dives off of the pier to retrieve his son's lifeless body. Ash then takes Danny not to his garage, but a ranch house right outside of city limits in the countryside. After arriving, he takes his son to the backyard where a grave has been prepared for him. He gently places the boy in the grave before covering him with the dirt and soil. Then he finally plants a makeshift cross at the head of the grave. Ash pulls Danny's painting out of his pocket, and all the father and son bonding moments flash through the heartbroken father's mind. He then magically ignites the artwork, letting it burn till it's nothing but mere ashes.
I love you, my son. I'll see you soon.
He whispers. Ash hops back on his bike and makes his way back to town. Meanwhile, back at Gargoyle Tattoo, Callie and Curve have poor Noah strapped down to one of his shop chairs in an attempt to get him to tell the two goons where Sarah is located.
What the hell do you two wankers want?
Boo. A house out in the country. A dog. A wife. Some kids. And your head mounted above my fireplace.
He finishes trying to intimidate Noah, but to no avail.
Look, baby, why don't you make life easier for all of us by telling us where we can find Sarah?
Callie asks as she takes a seat on Noah's lap.
I ain't telling you shit. I'm no bloody rat.
Noah exclaims as Callie reaches for a tattoo gun, which she then turns on.
Last chance, old man. Are you gonna tell us? Or not?
Go fuck yourself, you dried up old dirty wench.
Noah yells, and with that, Callie drives the needle through his eye, causing the poor man to scream out bloody murder. Moments later, as Callie and Curve start to take their leave, Curve starts to clutch his chest where his crow tattoo is. Blood starts to drip from the bird's beak and talons.
Curve?
Callie calls out to Curve, noticing that something is off with him.
What is it?
She asks with a hint of concern, but Curve ignores her and pieces out on his bike. After a while, Curve arrives at a nearby bar while Callie, along with some thugs of her own, arrive at Sarah's place. Curve makes his way through the rowdy crowd till he reaches the bar where he takes a seat and opens up a pack of Judah's brand of powder, which he pours out on the countertop to line up before snorting it. As he tried to enjoy his euphoric high from the substance, Curve takes a good look in the big mirror behind the bar and he sees Ash in the crowd behind him. Thinking his eyes must be playing tricks on him, Curve quickly turns around to confirm his sighting, and sure enough, there was Ash staring a hole in Curve.
Nothing personal, sport.
Ash says before raising his shotgun he took from the peep show. He fires a shot, narrowly missing Curve, but causing a panic in the crowd, who clear out quickly. Curve's buddies make their way inside, get behind the bar before raising their firearms. Ash spreads his arms open, welcoming all incoming shots, which the goons start to let out, wasting all of their ammo on the invulnerable man while Curve sneaks out of the bar. After running out of bullets, Ash takes the shotgun and fires a shot at each thug till they were all gone, allowing himself to chase after Curve, who hops on his bike.
Time's up, Curve!
Ash shouts as he exits the bar. Curve then pieces out and Ash jumps onto his bike and rushes off in hot pursuit of Curve. Meanwhile, back at Sarah's, she and Grace were enjoying their peaceful night until they hear a banging on the door. Sarah checks the peephole and she can see Callie outside with two goons.
Oh shit. Grace, quick. Out the window.
Without hesitation, Grace does as she's told, making her escape out of the nearby open window and to the fire escape. On the other end of town, Ash is still in pursuit of Curve, who leads him to the docks. Curve stops at the end of the familiar pier and sees Ash is parked at the starting point, blocking his path.
Wrong place, wrong time. Hey, Curve.
Ash yells out to the terrified thug, who tries to play tough.
You think I'm afraid of you? You painted up freak.
Curve shouts before firing up his bike to make an attempt to mow down Ash, who stands ready and pulls out his shotgun. He takes aim at Curve's gas tank and fires a round. But the heat and impact from the shell caused a huge fiery explosion that launched Curve all the way back to the end of the pier while his bike falls into the drink below. Ash walks towards the fallen thug.
Hell of a run, Curve. I'll give you that.
The painted warrior says before kneeling down next to Curve, who is lying on the pier with a big piece of shrapnel from the gas tank piercing through his stomach, causing him to die a slow, agonizing death.
I want to thank you for showing me my pain, Curve. It made me who I am today. But you're still gonna die.
Ash says, and with that, much like what happened to him and his son, he kicks Curve off the pier, dumping him into the drink below.
So long, shithead.
Ash says before turning around to head back to his bike. Before getting back on, Ash pauses for a moment, kneeling down and lowering his head. After a minute has passed, he lifts his head back up and stands. Suddenly, Ash gets a flash from his crow's eyes. He sees Sarah locked up in chains. She's trapped somewhere, held prisoner by someone.
Sarah.
He mutters to himself before hopping back onto his bike. Moments later, Ash arrives back at Sarah's. He touches her painting and paintbrushes, searching for answers. He knows where she is.
Sarah isn't here, Ghost Man.
Where is she?
He growls, but Callie casually and coldly shrugs her shoulders.
You took my son's life.
Ash says as he points at the cruel woman.
Some people were born victims. Do you even know how to fight?
Do you know how to die?
Suddenly, Callie throws a few ninja stars, and Ash catches one in the palm of his hand that he pulls out and throws back to Callie, who dodges it effortlessly. Callie then reaches for a wooden post to use as a makeshift bow staff. She swings swiftly and gracefully, but Ash narrowly dodges each attempt till he was able to get a grip on the staff, which he breaks in half before taking the now two makeshift Eskrima sticks from his highly skilled enemy. Ash drops his sticks when he sees Callie pull out a butterfly knife, which she uses to attack, but Ash managed to dodge most of the attempts, except for the cut on his stomach that Callie was able to get in. He reaches for her chin.
Shall we dance, my dear?
He teases with a sinister grin, but Callie would have none of it by roundhouse kicking Ash in his face, knocking him back against the wall. It was there where he sees an exposed light bulb on a fixture mounted on the wall that triggered a memory of the night he and Danny were killed. He sees Callie aiming her gun at the boy before letting out a round. Ash starts to rage out, wildly breaking some of the furniture in the room that had Callie scared, so she makes an escape attempt, but Ash was too quick for the would-be assassin. He grabs her by the ankle, causes her to throw a wild punch, but he also gets a grip on her wrist. Ash then throws the Callie into a brick pillar where her leg gets broken on impact, so now she's vulnerable and unable to stand. Ash then slowly approaches his now disabled prey, and along the way, he picks up one of Sarah's plush dolls and cradles it in his arm like it's an infant.
Hush, little baby. Shh. Don't say a word.
He starts to sing the familiar tune that Callie had sung to Danny before taking the boy's life. Ash then sets the doll down before picking Callie up into his arms, cradling her as he starts to twirl with her.
Daddy's gonna buy you a big black bird!
He yells before throwing the failed assassin out of a window where she falls from a single-story high before she crashes into a parked car. Callie now lies among glass shards and waste from passing dogs. Her back is now broken. She can barely lift her head. The shadow of a huge crow suddenly appears on the wall near the fallen Callie. The shadow shapeshifts, changing to a human form. Ash was now standing next to the broken woman, looking down at her as she gasps for air.
I can't move.
Callie whispers, tears forming in her eyes, but Ash continues to stare at her with a darkened, cold look in his eyes.
Kill me. Finish it.
The defeated Callie begs for death, but Ash just shakes his head slowly.
No.
You have to.
My job was to send you to hell. And now you're in it.
There's no honor in this.
She whispers, feeling the pain of her broken body and the weight of her sins.
It's my death. I've won it.
Me too.
Ash responds before turning around to take his leave.
Wait. Where are you going? Wait. You can't do this.
She continues to cry out, but it's too late. Ash is back on his bike and starts to head over to Sarah's location. Callie's eyes suddenly flutter shut and her body goes limp. The now dead assassin can be seen lying in a pool of her own blood that was eerily shaped like a crow. Meanwhile, back at Judah's tower, Sarah starts to stir.
Where am I?
Judah's tower. Don't worry, child.
Sybil starts as she checks on Sarah.
Eventually, everyone finds their way here.
She trails off as Sarah lifts the prophet's hood to see that the poor woman's eyelids were sealed shut since she was missing her eyes.
What happened to you?
Fate happened to her. Sybil has been cursed with the gift of prophecy. She can foresee what fate has in store for us. She cut her eyes out to prevent the visions from coming to her, but it only made them stronger, didn't they, dear?
I've learned to live with my affliction.
Don't we all?
Judah Earl.
My reputation precedes me.
I've seen what your drugs have done to this city.
I saw a need, so I exploited it.
Judah retorts as he shrugs his shoulders.
It's all economics, Sarah. Supply and demand.
Why did you bring me here?
I'm glad you've asked that, Sarah. You got a very important part to play in this little drama of ours. I plan on capturing the crow. And you are the bird feed.
Judah trails off as he marks Sarah's forehead with a black cross.
Why are you doing this?
Have you ever read Dante's Inferno? It says that the only true path through hell lies at its center. If you want to escape it, you have to go further in. When I was a boy, I fell through the ice on a lake. I remember seeing the sky through the ice above, close enough to touch. The world grew cold around me. Dark. Eventually, my heart stopped beating. And in that moment, I died.
Judah sweeps his hand through one of the candle flames, then pinches the flame out of existence. A tiny wisp of smoke trails up into shadow.
A half hour later, I woke up on an operating table. I had returned to the world of flesh and bone, but I brought back some knowledge with me. Forbidden knowledge.
Judah says while tapping his forehead.
I've been living on borrowed time ever since. I've always known death would be coming for me. I see now that your friend is the one I've been waiting for.
You can't stop him.
You're wrong, Sarah. There is a way to defeat death. And that's to trade places with him.
Meanwhile, Ash had arrived at the drug overlord's tower, but there was a huge and rowdy crowd rocking out to the hypnotic tunes coming from a live band performing for them. Ash manages to fight his way through till he reaches the front entrance, which he sees the doors are caged shut. The tower is locked down. Ash's crow flies into an open window that led into Judah's penthouse. The magical bird spots Sarah, so it lands nearby, but Sarah tries to scare it off.
No! Go! Get out of here!
Sarah pleads as she whips her chains towards the crow that refuses to leave. Suddenly, a small cage drops from above, trapping the poor, unsuspecting bird inside.
Well, winner. Chicken dinner.
Back outside, Ash continues to fight through the crowd searching for an alternative port of entry into the tower, which he unable to find, so he decides to climb up the tower. Meanwhile, Judah is preparing for a ritual sacrifice of Ash's crow. He pulls out a blood-red velvet bag that houses 3 ceremonial daggers.
Do you know what they call these? Misery cords. Wonderful name, isn't it? In the Dark Ages, these were used to deliver the death blow to the mortally wounded. They were considered the tools of mercy.
He finishes before grabbing the crow and pulling it out of its cage. Ash, on the other hand, was about a story and a halfway up the tower and still climbing effortlessly. Judah begins to paintbrush the crow's face, agitating it to the point where the poor bird begins to spread its wings. Judah takes the first cord and rams it into the bird's left wing, causing it to caw in pain. The same pain can be felt by Ash as well, which caused the man to almost lose his grip.
Ah! Shit!
He says to himself as he winces in pain. Judah then drives a second misery cord into the crow's right wing again, causing the poor defenseless bird to caw out in pain, which Ash once again also feels.
Oh! Fuck!
Ash is here.
Ashes. To ashes, we all fall down.
Judah says as he drives the final cord into the crow's chest, finally putting the poor bird out of its misery. Ash too felt this blow. Although it wasn't enough to kill him, it didn't prevent him from losing his grip completely, causing him to fall from almost 2 stories high and onto a conveniently placed flower stand with a full bed of flowers to help, along with the canopy above to cushion Ash's fall. Judah collects the blood from the crow in a dish he had in place. After picking up said dish, he uses some of the bird's blood to draw tribal markings around his eyes, and finally, he drinks the rest to take the power that Ash no longer has.
You now possess the power. Ash is mortal once again.
Sybil informs Judah. Meanwhile, Ash is still laying in the flower bed. He stays for a moment or two before he hears a familiar voice calling for him.
Hey Dad.
Danny?
Ash rushes to Danny's side, holding him tight, his heart aching at the precious touch. Ash's disbelief is overpowered by the unfettered joy of seeing his son once again.
God. Danny. Danny. My boy. What are you doing here?
It's time to go back, Dad.
Ash looks up at the murder of crows above, crying out.
Is that why they're here?
Danny nods.
They're the souls that came before you. They're crying for the people they've lost. Now, they're crying for you.
I can't. What I started, it's not done.
Ash says.
I can't leave. Sarah still needs me.
High above, as the sky grows darker, the ceaseless cawing of the crows grow louder and louder. Pleading cries.
You don't understand, Dad.
Danny starts as he shakes his head.
You work for the dead, not the living. Your work here is done.
Ash reaches for his son's shoulders, all but pleading with him.
Danny, I'm sorry. I can't go. Not yet. Not now.
Dad, please. You have to.
Danny, I can't leave her like this. I can't leave her trapped.
A shadow passes over Danny's face. He seemed saddened. For a moment, it seems as if another entity creeps into Danny's voice, one that isn't used to being disobeyed.
If you turn your back on the dead now, you'll be trapped between worlds. You'll never be allowed to cross over.
The entity has now left Danny's voice, and he resumes speaking in his own again.
I'll never see you again, Dad. You'll be alone. Forever.
Ash hesitates for a moment, realizing the enormity of what he is about to do. It's an agonizing choice.
I have to stay.
The painted warrior makes his decision, and his son nods.
I know.
Danny reaches out to touch his father's painted face.
Goodbye, Dad.
Danny!
Ash reawakens in the bed of flowers. The spell is broken. Was he dreaming? No, there's Danny slipping back into the crowd, the mask pulled down over his face. Ash crawls out of the flower bed and pushes through, reaching for Danny. He turns him around, pulling off his mask.
Danny!
Only this time, it's not Danny at all. It's a drunken dwarf with messed up teeth who's laughing his ass off at Ash.
Sure, pal. Shit, I'll be Danny or Franny or whoever the fuck you want if you give me another bottle.
The twisted, perverse little man grabs his crotch and laughs at the confused expression on Ash's face. Horrified, Ash recoils, pushing himself through the crowd, making his way back towards Judah's tower. At that moment, Judah bursts through his iron gates, ripping the chains that bound them like paper. Judah grabs Ash by the lapels of his coat, dragging him close so they're eye to eye, close enough to breathe the same breath, two sides of the same coin.
Tell me, Ash, do you ever get the feeling we're all just dead men on leave?
Judah.
In the flesh.
What did you do to me?
I've drank your bird's blood, which gave me your power.
Judah answers as he shoves Ash to ground and pins him down with a foot on his chest. Struggling to get free from Judah, Ash reaches into his coat pocket and pulls out Curve's pistol. He aims and fires it into Judah's chest at point-blank range. Judah doesn't even stagger, he just keeps on grinning. Wisps of smoke rise up from the holes in his chest before they instantly heal. Judah then lifts Ash back up to his feet with ease.
What are you?
Ash asks as he looks Judah in the eye.
I'm your shadow, Ash. Every angel has a demon.
The crows in the sky continue to cry as Judah starts to wrap a rope around Ash, carefully making sure that one wrap is around the painted warrior's neck.
Go to hell!
Already been there! And I must admit, I liked what I saw.
Meanwhile, in Judah's penthouse, Sybil is freeing Sarah from her chains.
You must hurry, child. Ash doesn't stand a chance.
The prophet warns as she hands her a misery cord.
Why are you doing this?
Sarah asks, and Sybil fixes her with her blind stare.
Ash needs you, now. More than ever. Go to him.
Look at you! Where's your strength, Ash?
Judah taunts Ash while he drags him with the rope, cutting off Ash's wind, making it difficult to breathe.
You're nothing! Not even a ghost!
Judah shouts before throwing his end of the rope over a lamp post.
You people want death! Here he is!
He says before jumping off a scaffolding, lifting Ash up to hang. Ash was able to grip the wrap around his neck, preventing the rope from tightening around his windpipe. Judah then pulls out his whip. Meanwhile, Sarah is fighting her way through the crowd. Judah starts cracking the whip on Ash.
If you whip death, does he not bleed?
Judah asks the crowd as he continuously whips Ash, with each crack chewing through his shirt till they finally meet his flesh, leaving some lacerations on his torso.
Judah!
Sarah screams as she rushes towards the cruel overlord.
Stop it!
She screams right before she stabs Judah in between his eyes with the misery cord Sybil had given her, causing him to release his grip on both his whip, which drops to the ground, and the rope, allowing Ash to drop to the ground as well.
Ash! Ash! Please tell me! Are you okay?
Sarah asks, tears streaming down her face. Ash coughs up some blood before managing a weak smile.
Yeah, thanks.
Sarah kneels down beside him and holds his bloody face in her hands.
Don't ever leave me again.
She whispers before kissing him softly.
Never.
Ash responds weakly. Judah manages to pull the cord out of his head before making his way towards the couple.
Sarah?
Ash tries to warn Sarah as they both see Judah coming for them, so Sarah gets back to her feet.
Sarah, wait!
Ash calls to her, but it's too late as Sarah runs back towards the angry-looking Judah.
Judah! Please! Wait!
Sarah takes a stab to the gut by the misery cord Judah obtained from his head and shares a confusing stare with Sarah, who recoils back to Ash, who saw the whole thing.
The crows. I can see them coming.
Ash, now heartbroken and guilt-ridden, reaches for Sarah, who takes his hands for a brief moment before Ash gets back to his feet and shoves Judah back into the scaffolding the drug overlord was standing on, causing an exposed pipe to penetrate right through Judah's back and out his stomach. Judah almost immediately remembers he cannot die, so he starts to taunt Ash again.
You can't stop me anymore, Ash. You haven't got the power. There's nothing but pain for you now.
All this knowledge you possess, and yet you haven't figured this out by now?
Ash trails off as he backs away slowly.
Pain is my power.
Ash says as he opens high coat and looks up to the crows above, which caused Judah's eyes to widen with fear and disbelief.
Take him, now!
Ash shouts, and with that, all the crows fly through him and take piece of Judah with them until the evil drug overlord is completely wiped from existence. After all was said and done, Ash looks down at his hands. The wounds have been healed. The lacerations on his torso are gone, and the blood on his face disappears. The crows have cleansed him. Ash then gets back to Sarah and holds her in arms during her final moments.
Sarah? Please. You can't leave. I have to tell you.
Hush. I know. But there has to be a balance. Someone has to cross over. I didn't want it to be you.
Tears spill down Ash's cheeks, causing his war paint to run.
I can't go with you, Sarah. I have to stay here now. I have to stay.
Sarah reaches down to the wedding ring that hangs from her neck on a chain. She tugs at the chain, snapping it apart. She holds the ring out to Ash. Inside is an engraving that reads, "Forever."
Take this.
Sarah whispers, and Ash does as told. He takes the ring from Sarah. She closes Ash's hand around the ring, gripping his fist tightly.
I'll wait for you. Forever, if I have to.
Oh, God.
Ash mutters as he winces, trying to fight back the tears.
Listen. If two people love each other,
Sarah continues,
nothing can keep them apart.
Her voice starts to fade.
Nothing.
Ash nods, trying to let this thought reassure him. It's the only thing he has left to cling to. Ash then removes his coat to place it under Sarah's body. Sarah, however, sees a flash before her eyes right before she passes on. It's a vision of her and Ash together being intimate. Ash then lifts Sarah up and cradles her in his arms. He takes her to the old familiar church, where he lays her down on the altar, which was still decorated for the Day of the Dead. Ash plants a soft kiss on Sarah's forehead before he takes a seat to pay his respects, and as he does so, he stares at the ring Sarah had given him, reading the engraving inside.
Forever.
Suddenly, the elderly priest that Ash had spoken with before enters the room.
You're still here, my son? Why?
Because I have nowhere else left to go.
Ash answers with the pain in his tone.
What will you do, then?
This city is filled with shadows. One more won't make it any darker.
Ash tells the priest before getting back up to his feet and taking his leave. It's a very bittersweet ending for the painted warrior, but it's an ending he has earned. He's accepted his fate and has found peace in the knowledge that he has a purpose now, a purpose that was forged from the ashes of his former life. The city may be dark and filled with shadows, but Ash has become a beacon of hope, a symbol of redemption. He accomplished what he was set out to do. To set the wrong things right, so that his son, Danny, and the now love of his life, Sarah, can finally rest in peace. Or so he believes as he hops back on his motorcycle and rides off, disappearing into the night.
Not time for me to take my last breath. Lord knows I'm nowhere near done yet. So much to be told from this old soul. So come on now, let's go. Not time for me to take my last breath. Lord knows I'm nowhere near done yet. So much to be told from this old soul. So come on now, let's go. Maybe down for now, but so far from out. I'm hitting milestone after milestone. Yeah, see. Coming into my own, stepping into my zone. Still got a ways to go. Facts. So far from perfection. Steady focus on the mission. Many failed relationships. Can't deny all the roles that I have to hold. True. Truth be told, as I get so old, and grow so cold. Many chapters have been closed. Some stuck in limbo, but I can't dwell though. Nope. Dark night riding solo. Gotta roll with the flow. Weather through the storm so I can live my new norm. Yep. Kiss goodbye to my old form. I'm feeling reborn. Shedding my symbiote. Like, yo, this is it. I straight up had enough. It's time for me to rise up like a new phoenix. Not time for me to take my last breath. Lord knows I'm nowhere near done yet. So much to be told from this old soul. So come on now, let's go. Not time for me to take my last breath. Lord knows I'm nowhere near done yet. So much to be told from this old soul. So come on now, let's go.